Usually conspiracy theories start with like a kernel of truth. You're like, hold on a second, okay, there's a kernel of truth, but that's really not that absurd. And then it goes into the absurd. Well, the little small kernel of truth here is Pedophile Island! Question of the day. Really simple here. Epstein suicide. Your thoughts?
Go.
Really, I want to hear because there's so many different theories. So first off, the Epstein case is so outlandish, obviously, with so many moving parts, and there are already so many conspiracies relating to it that it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, very.
So this segment today, I want to make sure that you understand, is designed to stick with only the verifiable facts that we know, okay? Yep. And I encourage you to check out all the sources that we list here for yourself, and when I'm offering my opinion, I will issue a disclaimer, okay? Mm-hmm. And I should say that at the time of this taping, there's emerging evidence that this was really a simple error from the Geek Squad employee who installed the video cameras. And that was the only one. That's the only one. Everything else is 100% factual, I promise. So let's go down this fact. Okay, Jeffrey Epstein, billionaire who ran a child prostitution ring connected to some of the most powerful people in the world, and he had an actual pedophile island.
Wow.
An island. Yep. Complete with pagan-looking temples full of mattresses. I think we have B-roll of it here. Oh my gosh. So, caution here, disclaimer, my opinion on its surface, that sounds pretty bad.
Yeah.
All right, so the fifth fact I think everyone needs to know. Epstein almost got away with it, okay?
Yeah.
Think about this for a second. For running a child prostitution ring and raping underage girls, he was sentenced to 18 months. He didn't even serve that. In a private wing of the Palm Beach County Stockade, okay? He was allowed to leave the jail on work release for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. The Florida Attorney General, Alexander Costa, he was the one who cut the deal, and he said that it was because he had been told to back off, that Epstein was above his pay grade. I think the exact quote is, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone. The sheriff's office, they actually received $128,000 from Epstein's nonprofit to pay for extra services during his work release. He was monitored by permit deputies, whose overtime, by the way, was paid by Epstein. His cell door was left unlocked. He also accepted male, female visitors in a separate office with the door closed. Prison staff did not supervise.
Oh my gosh.
Billionaire caught red-handed running a child hooker ring, effectively. I don't want to say hooker because they weren't willing. I don't know if the difference between prostitution ring or hooker ring, because hookers, it sounds like there'd be a willing, pimp.
I think hooker and prostitution are interchangeable.
I don't know. I listen to 110th Street, and I love the song, so I feel like I know the difference. I've heard of white Americans are out of touch with black culture. That's not me.
Not you.
So, raping, molesting over 100 girls. He gets 13 months in effectively a private resort. Now, opinion, disclaimer, seems to me like here his money and connections may have led to favorable treatment. Opinion.
Maybe.
Don't look for a source on that.
No.
That's just Steven doing what Steven do. He was arrested more recently because a lot of people will say, well, why was he arrested recently if that was the sentence? Actually, because the Miami Herald tracked down one of the women who he abused, published an expose, then he was arrested on new charges. I believe it was July. That's one fact, okay? Fact number 4. No one really knows, and I've been researching this for the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
No one really knows how this guy made his fortune, supposedly over $1 billion.
Yeah.
He ran a money management business, and it specialized in investments for billionaires. What's crazy about this is he wasn't known as a savvy investor. He wasn't like a Warren Buffett. So billionaires just all of a sudden said, well, okay, you're going to have an investment fund for us billionaires. Who else? What other money have you managed? None. You'll be my first.
That's a great sales pitch, right?
I mean.
So, opinion, disclaimer, looking at the evidence, it seems, opinion, YouTube, okay, not a conspiracy, it seems like blackmail could have played maybe a role a little bit. Now, keep in mind his mansion. This is the mansion where he would hold parties with celebrities, politicians, underage girls. When it was first raided, law enforcement, they found many hidden cameras. Do you know how many hidden cameras?
No.
Many.
Then
when his house was more recently raided, again, first off, raid my house once, shame on you. They found a locked safe with CDs labeled young and names inserted there, young name plus name, which again would suggest that it could be blackmail related. Why would you have all of these cameras and label it this person plus this person, and you have it archived?
Unless he was just like recording to watch later for his own gratification. Who knows?
He doesn't need to. He has a harem.
I don't know. He's a sick puppy.
He is.
I
have no idea. He's the kind of guy who would ignore the needs of his harem just to watch tapes.
Yes.
You're a selfish lover, Epstein.
Was.
We expected that to come out in the trial. That's what's really sad in all this. We expected the world to understand what a selfish lover Epstein was, and now we'll never know.
We'll never know.
By the way, $77 million mansion that we just, I think we just showed you, was transferred to Epstein by a rich investor for $0. Oh, nothing. Here's what bothers me about this. Let's assume that maybe it turned out to be true. This is a rich and powerful man who owned a pedophile island. He had a cabal of actors and politicians. Like, isn't that enough?
That should be
the
enough.
crap that you were trying to read into in the Jay-Z and Rihanna music videos. Like, is that Illuminati? I think it is. It's amazing. Like, this is worse than all of it. It's like, no, we know. Charged with pedophile island. You're like, wait a second. I think this is bigger. How does it get bigger?
The people involved, Stephen. The people.
All right.
Involved.
Fact number
just
3.
asking questions.
What are you, Jesse Ventura? I'm just asking the question.
Have you done the
Know your
research?
facts. Fluoride in the tap. All right. This is something that really should seem damning. Clinton and the Lolita Express. So Epstein had a private jet known as the Lolita Express that made many trips to his pedophile island. Here's a clip.
This woman, Shantae Davis, took Inside Edition inside the
I did not
secret
expect her to
world
be
of
named
the
Shantae.
so-called Lolita Express, named after the iconic fictional character from the book and movie. Epstein allegedly used a private jet to fly underage girls to sex parties. Shantae was Epstein's personal masseuse.
On almost every trip that I did go on, there were young girls around.
Biggest surprise is that's a redhead Irish lady named Shantae.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Also, the way he says
that.
Private sex island. It's like the person in
He's
that
kinda
Inside
awkward. He's
Edition
like,
was
I don't wanna say it.
uncomfortable saying it.
Yeah.
Sex island. It was noted that Bill Clinton tried to. Yes.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, hit the notification bell. Join Mug Club if you haven't yet already. You get access to the entire daily show you don't get here on YouTube. And of course, subscribe on iTunes. louderwithbetter.com/mugclub and iTunes and whatever. Who cares? So the Clintons were really good buddies with Epstein. He was a regular at the White House when Bill Clinton was in office. Okay. Here's something. Bill Clinton claimed he knew nothing of Epstein's crimes.
Right.
Fair enough. Okay. We cannot verify, nor can we refute that. But he also claimed that he'd only flown on the plane 4 times. That's a lie.
Lie.
The flight logs show Clinton taking a total of, I want to make sure I get this right, 27 flights on 6 separate trips.
That's not 4.
And here's what's odd.
definitely
There were no Secret Service agents listed on the trip manifest, but many random women, which really shouldn't be odd considering the subject at hand. Here's something else. He wasn't alone. There were a lot of high-profile celebrities, and Prince Andrew, by the way, I didn't really know a whole lot about Prince Andrew until this, so that's how I'll remember him. They were palling around with underage girls. Like, I don't care about princes.
We broke free from them,
We'll move on
yes.
to, and of course we want to get to the suicide in the cell. That's obviously fact number 1. But here's another fact number 2 you need to know. President Donald Trump's relationship with Epstein. This, to be fair, President Trump, he did have a relationship with Epstein.
He did.
Comparatively, though, it was very casual and ended with Trump kicking Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for sexually assaulting an underage girl. Here are the court documents. You can see them yourself, okay? Donald Trump had a problem with it. He made sure that he was no longer welcome and knew it. And though the media reported that Trump flirted with one of the girls at Epstein's mansion, so you've probably heard this, she actually came out and proactively corrected the record and said that not only had Trump not had sex with her or any of Epstein's other girls, she also said he never even flirted with her. And that's important to note because the media is going, oh, okay, so the sex island, was there Trump there? She's like, no, Trump wasn't even Trump. No, Trump wasn't even Trump. He wasn't even there. He didn't even flirt with me. Trump. What'd you say, Trump? What, Trump?
What did they try?
Anonymous? Trump. Anonymous? Can I say Trump? Can I say, no, not the opposite from Trump. You said Trump. I mean, this is what they wanted to go with Trump this entire
Wanted it.
And here's opinion. Trump, we know, likely cheated on at least one of his multiple wives, okay?
Yeah.
But let's be honest, this is opinion. He traded his older wife for a slightly younger model. Like traded in a 55-year-old wife for I think like a 35 or 37-year-old. It's crappy but not perverse. Clinton cheated on his wife with a 22-year-old intern, and it is well known that Bill Clinton really had a preference for incredibly young women.
Yeah, really young women. This should really be a problem for the Clintons, and yet all we're hearing is Trump. Like you said, they really wanted so bad for Trump to be in this, right?
Yeah.
And this to be a problem.
They got all upset about
This is a Clinton issue.
The Clinton body count was trending.
Yeah.
So then
Oh, yeah.
they tried to get Trump body count.
And then
I
all
was
of a sudden it was
what?
gone.
And the body count just
Then Trump.
consists of the bodies of the dreams of all the Hillary Clinton voters. That's all it is. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Get down with the sickness.
I can see him doing this.
I have no idea what's going on here.
Absolutely.
So, fact number 1 that you want to know. The suicide, Kate, spoiler alert, some shady circumstances here. So, the FBI, Inspector General, they're both investigating the circumstances of the suicide. You probably know that. Congress most likely launched an investigation. Here's the thing. They're going to launch an investigation. I think, we have a clip. Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks has a favorite to lead the investigation.
Okay.
So who's doing the investigation? That's the important part, right? Okay, fair enough. So that gets to solution number 2, AOC.
We're way past April 1st. Like this is one of those.
Yeah,
There
really.
is,
Come
like,
on.
what are the
Really
qualifications?
shouldn't
0. But I like her, so I think that she should be in charge. What are you talking about? And actually, I think we're getting word. Our source in Congress leaked the congressman. I guess we actually have a recording of the audio phone call for collecting facts as we speak.
Oh, so he was like a kid's doctor, and this is like a malpractice thing?
No, Miss Cortez, that's a pediatrician. Epstein was a pedophile.
Oh, so like a feet doctor?
No, that's a podiatrist. Epstein was a pedophile, not a doctor, a criminal.
Oh, so like he was jaywalking.
That's a pedestrian moving violation. Epstein was a pedophile. Pedophile. He liked to be inappropriate with minors without their consent.
Oh. So like Joe Biden.
She's more astute than I was giving her credit for. Here's something else that shows how out of touch the media is with this.
No Joe Biden.
The right obviously thinks
Bad Joe Biden.
that the right obviously thinks you control your Joe Biden. People here, obviously, on the left and the right, are calling for an investigation, saying that this is shady. Now you just have people on the right saying there's a Clinton body count, and then you have people on the left saying Donald Trump is president, he had a relationship. But the fact that the only people saying that there's nothing to see here is the media. Both people on the left, and far right, and everyone in between, except for those in the elitist media, want to see some answers here.
Yeah.
And by the way, as soon as this new case began, everyone, this is important for people to know, like, who could have seen this coming? Every single person on Twitter with an egg.
Yeah.
They were joking that he was going to die by apparent suicide in jail, two shots to the back of the head.
Yeah, it's like start the clock.
This is something really important that people don't know. Just on Friday, it was Friday that documents were unsealed, and it looked like the high-profile friends, they were going to be called in to testify.
Yeah.
The next morning, Epstein was found dead in his cell. And by the way, it turns out he was taken off suicide watch. This is true. I'm trying to make sure that we clarify there's some conspiracy. This is absolutely true. He was taken off suicide watch, even after they claimed that he had an attempted suicide. He should have been checked on every 30 minutes by security guards according to prison regulations. That's what was supposed to happen. They didn't. And they couldn't find the video. What? That's it. I know you think I was going to say more. No, that's enough.
No.
That's it. He was in his cell. He was found in his cell, not the bathroom. So there should be video, but there isn't. According to sources, there's no footage. The medical examiner, by the way, has ruled the cause of death pending. Well, isn't it weird? Like, the death is pending. The coroner's like, we don't have enough information. Isn't that what you're paid for?
He hung himself.
How are we gonna know? Like, it's like someone going into a doctor.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing you're gonna die. So, well, hold on a second. What about
why?
Prilosec? You want to try that? What do you think? No, it's your job. You tell me. What do I do? What are my options, Doc? I don't know.
God.
What do you want? Like, you want to go for ice cream later? No, you're the doctor. That's why I'm here.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so
Too convenient.
we've talked. So, putting on my opinion hat here. All right, when we're talking about, do I think that there's something that I think if someone can actually go back to my first show ever, the radio when we were on radio before we were even syndicated, back when we were just in Wham in Detroit, Ann Arbor. I said, I'm not a conspiratorial guy. If you're looking for that kind of a radio show, this isn't the show for you. Except, I think the Clintons killed some people. And I kind of joked about it.
Yeah.
But gun to your head, okay.
Yeah.
Foster, Brown, Seth Rich. I mean, now Epstein. What is the mathematical probability? This is the thing, like right now, you don't have to spend 24 to 50 million taxpayer dollars on an investigation like that. Just, you know what? Just get the video. How about that? Just get the video. And how about this? Just, let's say it costs us an extra $250,000. Put a couple extra coroners on it. Put a couple extra medical examiners on it so that you come back with an answer that isn't pending. That you come back with an answer that isn't, well, what do you think? I do not think that this is, I think it's a conspiracy to go off too far and say, okay, CIA spy. But it is not. If you think that you're crazy for thinking about this conspiratorially, when this guy, as soon as these documents are unsealed, and we start getting information, and this guy is rubbed out, you are not crazy. Yeah. This is not just some outlandish conspiracy theory, because it starts with, usually conspiracy theories start with like a kernel of truth. Like, hold on a second, okay, there's a kernel of truth, but that's really not that absurd, and then it goes into the absurd. Well, the little small kernel of truth here is Pedophile Island! It's Pedophile Island! That's the starting point, okay? It's bad enough! We're not crazy for thinking there's a conspiracy with the guy who died alone in his cell who ran an island for pedophiles!
Hey there, you